Hey guys, so I am back with my third and final video on this whole Sutherland trip. I don't know if you've been watching the first two episodes, but I thought I would do this one a little bit differently in terms of not vlogging it on the moment, but kind of just reflect back on the time that I had taking the Khaya on this trip and also camping in such cold weather. So if you did watch the previous two episodes, you'll know that the journey to Sutherland was probably my favorite part of the whole trip. We stopped in places like Maatjiesfontein and Oomtjolse, which were places I never even knew existed in my own country. So that was great. We've met a whole lot of characters along the way. And by the time we actually finally got to Sutherland, it was in a way anticlimactic. We were like, okay, cool, what now? As it usually is. Also, when you set up camp with Alu-Cab products, you set up so quickly, you kind of then have to figure out what you want to do. So I just heard Simon say, oh my goodness, you guys just think of everything. What just happened?
So this morning when I was putting stuff in the fridge and this thing that goes over the fridge can't stay up, and I was looking for like whatever goes there, and the roof was already down, so I couldn't see this, and but there's actually this little elastic and there's a little place to clip it. It's just, yeah, someone thought of it, which is great.
There we go. We met a little chicken friend who came to visit the campsite quite often during our time there, which I thought was very welcome. And one of the fellow campers actually came over to us to come and look at the Khaya. Because obviously, like, it's quite an intimidating thing when you see it and you don't really know what it is. So it was really fun to me, for me and Simon, to actually explain the Khaya to people asking about it and to show them literally there's this whole home inside. So that was cool. And then the fellow camper also told us that the previous night him and his wife were camping there. They were camping in like a Volkswagen Kombi, and literally his pants that he left outside froze, along with the dishwashing liquid. So we were in for a treat. I wasn't sure what to expect, but as soon as the sun started to set, the temperature dropped and it was time for me to change into, you know, like the thermal type stuff, because yeah, it started getting really cold. For dinner, we made chili con carne, which is literally one of my favorite dishes to make. It was my first time making it on a fire, and it turned out great. Like, we had it with little nacho chips.
Dinner for 2 or 5.
We have a lot here. Dinner for tomorrow as well. And after that, we were pretty much freezing. So it was time to get inside the camper and try out the diesel heater for the first time. So here we go with the heater. It's on. Starting.
There we go.
we should be in business right now. It worked great. It was so hot inside there, like after a few minutes we needed to take our jackets off. So that went great. We played a game of Uno and then we went to bed. The next morning we woke up and literally everything outside was covered in this thin layer of frost. It looked really beautiful and the birds were chirping in the trees next to us. So it was a stunning morning and it literally almost looked like snow that was lying on the ground. I wish it was. We were hoping for snow, but it never came. I had a bit of a lie-in that morning. It was so nice and cozy in the bed. So eventually Simon brought me coffee in bed, but then I kind of felt bad for lying in so long. So I got up and decided to seize the day. And I spent some time with my chicken friend, and then we were ready to go and pretty much go and see what Sutherland has to offer. The owner of the campsite gave us this book that has lists of things that you need to see when you come to Sutherland. So Simon did some research into that and then we set off to our first location. So number one on the list was the cemetery, which I thought was pretty strange, but apparently that's like a normal thing for people to go and visit in new towns. So we did that and then we went to the beautiful white church in the middle of town, explored the grounds a bit, and then we basically just spent some time driving around in the town, looking at the houses, kind of imagining what it must be like living there in the coldest town in South Africa. And then we stopped at Boergat for lunch. So Boergat was highly recommended by us by Jeremy, who was there like 2 weeks prior, and he said it's an experience and we need to go. And he was not wrong. So when we got there, the owner greeted us with 2 Jägermeisters, and we just made a whole lot of friends while having lunch there. It was awesome. Music playing in the bar, old cars everywhere. The owner really put a lot of effort in it. He actually told us, and this was his words, he wants people to go to Sutherland for the stars, for the cold, and to visit Boergat. So I think he's on the right track to make that happen. After lunch, we set off to another must-see location in Sutherland, which is the South African Large Telescope, or the SALT. So it's this huge observatory that is based out there because of Sutherland's high sea level, and also the pollution-free air is great for stargazing, obviously. I think Sutherland, like 80% of the time, is cloudless. So it's the best place to watch stars in South Africa. So we wanted to go to the observatory and then... Alright, so here we are now at the entrance of the Sutherland Observatory and we can't get in, which sucks. It's because of the COVID regulations. There's a big red sign here saying, please note, facilities are closed due to COVID-19 restrictions. So yeah, that sucks. I at least saw it from the distance. It looks massive, but I'll have to show it to you guys next time. Oh no, that was an epic fail. I just tried to open the door and it all came off. I'm assuming it's because they did this wrap and then took the door off, or someone just noted. MacGyver. Okay, let's try again.
There we go.
Okay. After that, we head back to camp to prepare for the night's stargazing show, which was led by the campsite owner, and we were really excited about it. The only thing that kind of bothered us was the fact that it was full moon that night. So obviously when it's full moon you can't see the stars as well, but the campsite owner was quick to tell us that actually it's not a problem because the moon actually illuminates like some of the planets more. So that was great. The show was amazing. It was just freezing. We just got back from the stargazing session, which was really nice. It was a good way to end off this time in Sutherland. I obviously couldn't record anything because like the phone light isn't good for your eyes, so then you can't really see the stars as well. So yeah, it's freaking cold outside. I just had to climb inside of the camper to heat up for a little bit. Simon just started a fire. We're gonna make dinner, chicken and braaibroodjies and some veggies on the fire, and then we are going to get into the camper because yeah, the heater is going on full blast inside there. And then tomorrow morning we're getting up really early to head back to the city. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of a very fun time in Sutherland. And I'm sorry if I sound like a negative Nancy now, but that night it really was not pleasant making food outside. It was so cold and we had to get the fire going. We were tired after the day. We need to get up early the next morning. So naturally I spent as much time as I could inside of the camper making braaibroodjies while Simon was handling the fire stuff outside. But that experience definitely taught me to, when you're going camping and you know it's going to be cold, at least take one meal that you can make like within seconds or minutes, like on a gas stove. Because if you have to like still start the fire and it takes time, it's not great. We were pretty exhausted by the time we went to bed, and we knew we had an early morning, so we packed up everything in the dark, like at night in the cold. So yes. The next morning we got up while it was still dark, obviously, and we saw an amazing sunrise, which made it all worth it. I'm really not a morning person, but I'm slowly but surely starting to understand why people get up to see the sunrise. Yeah, it was a really good ending to the trip. And then we head back to the city, and yeah, now we back at work, full swing ahead, and planning the next trip. So that's that for this video, and if you've watched this far, I really hope you enjoyed it. I will keep you up to date with future plans in terms of trips, and of course the troopy that I have not forgotten about. We have just put that on the back burner while we get some other things out at the moment here at Alu-Cab, but soon enough I'll be getting back to kitting out the troopy and hopefully taking it on a few cool trips. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.